Hi everyone, Goldie here. So it's October 30th and it's the day before Halloween and Samhain, and I got a chance to come on here and do a little chit chat about the holiday itself and what my plans are. Um, so tomorrow is actually supposed to rain all evening, so I don't know if I'll be able to do um, the ritual that I wanted to do. We just cleaned out our fire pit yesterday and to get all ready for it. And now it's supposed to rain all night. So I may end up doing it tonight or during the day tomorrow before the rain comes in. But I had originally decided to um, cast a circle around my fire pit and recite some words that partially are from something that I found, um, but I don't remember what website it was on. And another uh, bit of it is kind of improvised, just stuff that I was thinking of. And during this time, I was really thinking about, as many of us do, our ancestors. And even though I don't do ancestor work, as in worshiping my ancestors or that kind of thing. I do like hold reverence for them and hold space for them, and then with like relatives that have recently passed that I cared for, I I may do a little something for them. They've been on my mind a whole lot, especially my grandmother who passed away a couple years ago. And even though um, I know she was really happy to go, she was saying for years, like, I'm still alive. It's like I'm ready. She was ready to go. And every time I called her, like, how you doing? Well, I'm not dead yet, so that sucks. um, but she had a funny sense of humor, and she was ready to go. Um, but anyway, I've really been missing her, and even though we technically lost her a long time ago because she had dementia, um, she didn't know who any of us were. She didn't know who she was at the end, and um, but I've been thinking of her a lot, and just some just thinking about ancestors in general and ancestor work. And I was really interested in ancestor work when I was first discovering my path, and um, but then I had a kind of an issue with it because a lot of people in my ancestry aren't very good people, and and I don't want to hold space for people who did awful things to other people. But what I do hold space for is my appreciation for their survival. That's like the best I could do. I appreciate their ability to survive because without their survival, I wouldn't be here. And throughout history, it's taken the most brutal people to survive to get here, or the luckiest. Um, but in my family's case, the most brutal. Um, but as far as I don't I don't like to hold space for people who did evil things. And but I do understand that they're surviving their instincts and what they did in certain cases enable me to be here and change that history too. That um, that we don't have to repeat that uh, behavior anymore. And anyway, so ancestor work was kind of um, a difficult thing topic to put my head around, and but there are people in other parts of my family who are very good people, and I just don't think that they should all be put in the same place in reverence, and appreciation, and so that's why I don't do ancestor worship in that way. Um, but I do want to honor like my grandmother, and I was thinking um, of different things to do. I know I'll light a candle for her and set out some things that she gave me before she passed, and um, or some jewelry that she's um, given me in the past. But I was thinking also about how funny it is when we talk about ancestors and like thinking of them and you know how everyone's experience with each one of the ancestors is different too. Like I have a lot of great memories of my grandmother, but she's my dad's mom, and um, and he doesn't. You know, he has a very different uh, knee-jerk reaction when her death is brought up, and who she was brought up because his history with her is completely different. Being a parent and being a grandparent are completely different um, uh, behavior. You know, you just my parents are completely different as grandparents than they were when I was growing up. And and of course they're the same people, but they don't have the um, I guess like the discipline or I guess just the muck that come up with being a parent, you know, and anyway, the stuff that goes on with that relationship. Being a grandparent, it's very like just fun, easygoing. You don't have to be the disciplinarian. You don't have to do homework. You don't have to wake them up in the morning. You know, unless obviously you're their main caregiver, then you become the role of the parent. But I'm talking about in a traditional um, or more common grandparent role. But anyway, I was thinking about that and like how um, my relationship and memories and everything are completely different and very wholesome compared to what my dad experienced, you know, and and as far as my mom's side, I never grew up around them, and I don't know anything about them because they harness a lot of that evil behavior that I was talking about that I don't want to hold space for. I've heard the stories and I've read the news articles, and I don't want to be a part of that, and I never have been. And so I completely separate myself from anything having to do with that side. But I do like to do I do like to hold space for our ancestors in a whole of our connectedness to each other, and so that is what I kind of do for the ancestor part, aside from um, what I'll be doing for my grandmother and my uncle, and and so yeah, I'll set up an altar. Um, I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it yet. I know I mean, if I go with the fire pit idea, if it doesn't rain me out, I'll set it up out there. But I don't want everything to get rained on, so I may just do a small one in here, and just kind of go with what feels right. Um, I I have this pillar candle that I like to. I'm gonna light. This was given to me by my mother-in-law, and then um, it's all up there, but I don't know. I'll probably set some stuff out. I'm like not really organized right now, and that's what kind of sucks. It's like we don't really have the space for me to put up altars, and in our old place, like I had multiple altars all over the house, and now I don't even have one, and I have like all my stuff either in boxes or like a handful of things, um, kind of out, which I know you don't need much, but there's things that I've put out like every year that that have meaning to me, and so it kind of feels weird and distant to not um, have those out and have like that space already set up for it or whatever. But the thing is, I mean, you don't really need all that stuff, you know. It's like you don't have to have like a big old like bells and whistles, you know, streamers and everything. It's like, you know, really just like sitting and thinking about them, and you know, I mean, that's really enough to hold that memory and that respect, and maybe utter a few words and maybe a little offering to the side, you know, and by their picture and light a candle. And you know, I may end up just doing that just to keep it simple and yeah, just not make a big production of it. Um, but I guess that's all I really had to talk about. I hope everyone has a really amazing Samhain and Halloween and stay safe. And if you're in my area, stay dry because it's gonna rain all night. And most of all, have fun. Many blessings to all you guys. Thanks. Bye.